3, 2.
Live from the Blitzkrieg Studio.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another beautiful episode of the Sideline Podcast, episode 28. I am your host, Adam Flores, once again joined by the wonderful Christopher Marquez.
Yo. What's
We
up?
have a great episode for you guys today. We are back at it with a week 2 recap. Week 2 is in the books. We are going to be starting off with an injury report. Then we will be recapping all of the matchups that happened over this weekend, Sunday and Monday nights included. And then we're going to get into a little bit of waiver wire ads as well as lines to look forward to on Thursday night. So we got a lot on the docket today. Chris, I want to start it out by saying thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, because
For what?
just for sticking around.
You can't just thank somebody out of nowhere.
No, but you know what? I have to, because this is something that I didn't see going this far. I'm gonna be completely honest. And
Damn, what does that say about me?
and like, well, no, I
Maybe-
know we're not. I know
maybe
we're
what
not.
does it say about you, actually?
I don't know. I mean, maybe like I get it. We're not at 10,000 subscribers. We're not at 100,000.
Yeah, that's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy to do. But you know what's also not easy to do is stay consistent with something.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of something like this on the low. And I understand that we're averaging like maybe 100 views. And I want to thank you guys too for listening. If you listen on the weekly, even if you listen once every other week, it really helps out the channel. And it just really puts us out there. I hope you guys are also following the Instagram and the TikTok. And I'm trying to keep up with the TikTok and the Instagram as well. So we're also working on a website that we're going to be putting out very soon. It's not the most fine-tuned, but it's something that we want to try and contribute to you guys and to put some content out there, some rankings for the week, as well as putting a live injury report out there.
It's the next best thing to ESPN.
It's the next best thing. I mean, like, I don't know who else would compete with us.
I mean, oh yeah, I couldn't imagine anybody else competing with us. No, I mean, you know what's crazy is that this is 28 episodes. So I guess the consistency thing is really important, but I remember we talked about that when we first started, because like for you people who may not know, I had my own podcast for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And we did over 170 episodes. So that was like an episode or two a week for 3 years. And the consistency comes from like, if you like doing it, then it's not going to be a problem. But some days it's harder than others. But just being able to like know, like if you want a podcast to grow, you have to be releasing shit. And so like if we're going to do this one, we have to be on the same page, because that's the only reason I saw that other podcast grow.
Yeah,
You know what
I mean,
And that one grew
consistency's key.
pretty good. I mean, we had like 600 subscribers almost,
Hell yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I guess you're welcome in a way.
I guess you're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not very good at getting compliments.
Hey, it's okay. I don't
You
give
know?
them out very much. So
Nobody does.
if you get a compliment from me, just feel appreciated and feel special.
Maybe you can just thank sports, right?
Yeah, thank you sports
thank
for
you
just
sports
happening.
for
Thank you
everything.
football for being back. I'm so excited. What I'm not excited about is this injury report that we have in front of us. So let's get into it. There's some interesting ones. There's ones that aren't so relevant, and there are some that are,
huge
season changing. So the first one, the biggest one, is obviously Joe Burrow will be out for at least the next 3 months with a toe ligament injury that does require surgery. He was limping off the field, and it just didn't look good when he couldn't even walk under his own power. So I knew that it wasn't something to be excited about right away. I also want to shout out another podcast that I listen to, the Fantasy Footballers. They're pretty big, and they did a little bit of research behind it, and I just want to shout out them for doing this research. Out of the last 25 quarterbacks that have suffered this injury, 0 of them came back in the same season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's good that it only happened week 2, and maybe there is a long shot for him to come back, depending on what their playoff circumstances are when December rolls around. But it doesn't look good for him to come back. So
Well, I mean, it just depends how his backup does.
right, exactly.
mean?
Jake Browning, if he
keeps them above water, and they're still like, and they're very competitive, and they're in the hunt, which I think they can be, because he didn't look half bad. But
no, he didn't.
If it's going to be different if they're in contention versus if they're not, because if they're not, then they're more willing to sit Joe out the rest of the
Right.
season. So if you drafted him, I don't think you should be dropping him yet. I would hang on to him and then just see how it plays out. You're going to know like by the second month whether he's projected to come back or not. So if you're an owner of his, don't hit the panic button yet, but you're going to have to replace him with production, and you might be able to look at Mr. Browning.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on what your league is. If you don't have any IR spots, then you should drop him.
That's different.
Right, but if you do have IR spots, absolutely just stick him on your IR, especially in Dynasty. You do not want to be dropping Joe Burrow like a fly in Dynasty. Stick him on your IR, and you still have next season to look forward to. And best case scenario, he comes back in December and he is still playable. But as of right now, if you don't have an IR spot, absolutely drop him. If you have IR spots that have better players on them, like maybe like Brandon Ayuk, who's set to come back halfway through the season rather than in 3-4 months, then you can drop Joe Burrow, but it just really is circumstantial. The other one that we have on the list is JJ McCarthy. He was initially out for just week 3 with an ankle sprain, and it turned into a high ankle sprain, and now that is going to keep him out 2 to 4 weeks. So we will be seeing Carson Wentz. I was going to say Case Keenum. Carson
Wentz, huh? What a well-traveled veteran quarterback.
Yeah, and I talk about those guys back-to-back because we actually are going to be seeing the Bengals and the Vikings next week face off in Minnesota, and it will not be Joe Burrow and it will not be JJ McCarthy out there managing those teams. Instead, it will be Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. And it's kind of sad because week 3, you obviously don't want to see 2 starting quarterbacks. I'm not going to say studs because we'll get into JJ McCarthy later.
Well, we're already down 3 if you consider Brock Purdy from last week.
Well, we're down 4 if you consider Justin Fields.
We're not considering Justin Fields for anything right now.
Well, we got a couple other guys. Jaden Daniels is listed day-to-day as well with a knee sprain. Initially, I myself had thought that it was going to be an ankle sprain, but it did come out as a knee sprain. Justin Fields is questionable with a concussion. Aaron Jones, who was out or likely to be out week 3, was now placed on IR with a hamstring injury. So it was more significant than people thought. He will miss the next 4 games at the very least.
And it's more significant because the Vikings signed Cam Akers. So he's
really, I did not see that.
That was just happened within the past few hours. He was on the team last year, so he's going to be thrust into that backfield, and he'll share the workload with Jordan Mason at some point. Right away, you shouldn't touch him because he's still got to get acclimated.
Right.
But he could be someone if he shows that he's better than Jordan Mason, which I don't know if he is at this point in his career, but just somebody to keep an eye out.
Getting into wide receivers, it's Brian Thomas Jr. popping up first with a wrist injury headed into next week. It's probably just load management. He's taking it day to day right now, but he should be good by week 3. Juwan Jennings is also day to day with an ankle injury. We did know that he was dealing with a shoulder injury previously, and now to pop up with an ankle injury, it's just not looking good for Juwan Jennings. Kevontae Turpin actually exited Sunday's game with a neck injury, and you hate to see neck injuries because you never know how scary they can actually be. There's a lot of important stuff that we need up there at the top of our heads. Xavier Worthy now is trending to play week 3 with a brace, which is great to hear if you're an Xavier Worthy manager or if you're a Patrick Mahomes manager, because that does show progress with him, and it shows that he may avoid surgery at least until the end of the season, God willing, if nothing else happens to him.
It's also going to muddy up the fantasy prospects for that position for KC.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be getting into some other names later, but we got guys like Tyquan Thornton, and we got Hollywood Brown, and even Travis Kelce.
And then this guy would just be popping up. He's like, I'm back, folks.
Yeah, and then in a couple weeks we get Rashee Rice back. Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about with KC.
It's going to get muddy over there. Real hard to see. Things are not going to be clear.
Yeah, big time. The other big name is Jalen Waddle. Pops up with a shoulder injury. He's not designated with an out or an IR spot, which is good to see, but just probably like load management there. They're taking it day to day with him. And Jalen Waddle's one of those guys where he's tough. He'll play through any injury, but he has been injury prone over the last few years. So that is something to keep an eye on. The other guys aren't big names, but they are something to look out for. Is Christian Kirk is shooting for a week 3 return alongside with Braxton Berrios. And these guys may not necessarily be viable for fantasy, but it is something to look out for if you are a Nico Collins manager, because these guys could eat into his work a little bit, especially since we haven't seen much out of Nico Collins the first 2 weeks. And Darren Waller is the other guy that gets a limited practice in for the Dolphins, finally, after 3 weeks of just not being on the team, basically.
I forgot about that guy.
Who, Darren Waller?
Yeah, he was with the Giants last
Yeah,
time.
and then did you know that the Dolphins actually traded for him, even though he was retired?
That's crazy.
because technically he was still under contract with the Giants. Yeah, so
what are they doing?
They traded draft picks to get a guy who hasn't even played, and on top of that, their coach Mike McDonald, or is that
Mike
his name?
McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDonald.
Mike McDaniels came out saying that it might get to the point to where they have to cut him from the team. So it's like you trade draft picks just for nothing, basically.
Well, I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they thought he was probably healthier than he is.
I mean, the dude was retired. They traded for him out of retirement.
But I mean, like, there was probably some indication that he was all right. And his agent did a very good job of selling them on a dream.
I mean, yeah, but that's all it is right now. It's just hopes and dreams.
Yeah, well, they don't have a lot going on over there, so let the Dolphins dream. They're not doing a lot.
Yeah, let them dream. Let's get into our games that wraps up our injury report. Let's hit it off with the Jaguars and the Bengals. The Bengals take that game 31-27 in Jacksonville. Or no, that was in Cincinnati, huh?
Yeah, that was in Cincinnati.
Yeah, my bad. So the Bengals do not cover the 3.5 spread. Actually, they only win by 3. Or they win by 4. Oh, no, wait. They did win by 4.
Yeah, they
27,
did.
28, 29, 30, 31.
Yeah,
Damn, I can't do math.
barely.
My bad. We had Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow face off in this game, and it was a weird one. It really was. Joe Burrow goes down early in the game. Jake Browning comes in, and Jamar Chase becomes what he was last year, but simply because of all the targets that he was getting. He ended up with 16 targets throughout the game, 14 receptions for $165 and 1 touchdown, and he had a monstrous fantasy game. He had over 35 points PPR. He was just phenomenal. That's what you love to see as a Jamar Chase manager. And it does suck that Joe Burrow goes out because he did only complete 7 passes in this game. But when Jake Browning came in, he did throw 3 interceptions, which did hurt his record, I guess. But to throw 2 touchdowns still in this game, one of them going to T. Higgins, the other going to Jamar Chase, I think that was great to see. Excuse me.
You're excused.
Thank you. It's great to see if you're a Jamar Chase manager, because it means that you don't have to hit the panic button right away. It means that you don't have to get off this guy, and this guy is one of those elites that is just QB. Like
He makes it easy. He's a cheat code.
He makes it easy, yeah.
And the thing too is that like he doesn't always have to get these. Well, because he turns in these small catches into long receptions.
Right.
So he doesn't always have to be going on crazy vertical routes or crazy crossing patterns over the middle of the field, which are harder throws. And so for Browning coming in, he's going to look for these small little screens or these quasi screen passes to just get him involved. And then you can see that any little 2-yard catch, he can break it. And that's like where his value is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a backup quarterback, I think one of the best offenses to be in right now would be Cincinnati, because they have so much firepower. They have Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Noah Fant, even Andre Yoshivas is a decent wide receiver 3. Yep. So you just love to see that from a backup QB, and I think Jake Browning will actually keep the Bengals relevant this season. Maybe not playoff bound, but definitely relevant just to stay in the mix.
Well, you just got to stay healthy too, because once you get down to your third quarterback.
No, exactly. And I mean, when you start the year 2-0, it does give you a little bit of a cushion going into the next 2 games, even the next 4 games, because even if you start at the season 2-4, you can still make a comeback from that. So it'll be hard for the Bengals, most definitely, but I don't think they are 100% completely out of it. It just depends on how the Joe Burrow recovery process goes throughout the season.
Yeah. We've seen backup quarterbacks come in and have some decent success.
Right, absolutely. We had Nick Foles in Philadelphia that won the Super Bowl, so it's not unheard of. The chances are low, but they're not 0.
Yep.
Chase Brown, again, ineffective in this game. He had 16 carries for only 47 yards. He's averaging 2.9 a carry, which is actually the lowest in the NFL right now. On a minimum of so many attempts. I forgot what the stat was. Travis Etienne on the other side of the ball looked very good too. 14 carries, 71 yards. He averaged 5 yards a carry, but they were in negative game script for most of the game, so he doesn't really get a lot of the work, and he might have been a dud for fantasy, but for real football purposes, he was very good. He was very effective. Bashal Tutin actually ate into a little bit of his work with 8 carries, 42 yards. He did have a receiving touchdown in this game, so I don't think the Jags are completely 100% zeroed in on Travis Etienne, but I don't think they're 100% out on him either, which is great to see if you're a manager of him. Trevor Lawrence, I want to talk about Trevor Lawrence a little bit just because he was the number 1 draft pick a couple of years ago, and they gave him this big contract. He's supposed to be their guy for the future. and he has not looked good, even when he's healthy. He does have one playoff win under his belt, and ever since then, it feels like he just has not done anything. The more weapons that they add on defense, the more weapons that they add on offense, it almost seems as if he's just getting worse. So what do you really do with Trevor Lawrence moving forward?
Fantasy wise, I mean, he's kind of unusable right now.
Yeah, fantasy wise, he's.
But as a team, I mean, you can't. You're stuck with him for at least a few more years. And I mean, he just had a lot of hype. He was out of Clemson. You know, he was with Dabo Sweeney in the Clemson's most prolific years that we've had in the past. So maybe a lot of it was that the talent around him at Clemson was really at a higher level compared to what he's had in Jacksonville. Now they're starting to put pieces around him, but it's not like this guy walked into the best situation. Remember, Jacksonville had Urban Meyer, that whole thing going down. So, I mean, they're not out on him yet. He's still young enough where he's going to get another shot or two at really trying to steer this Jaguars ship in the right direction.
On the receiving end of the game, we had T. Higgins for 356 and 1. And on the Jacksonville side, their number one target was, again, Brian Thomas Jr., but only 4 receptions, which is just not what you like to see for fantasy purposes. I mean, 12 targets is just great. You're getting 50% of the target workload when it comes to the wide receivers, basically. Well, not 50%, but it feels like it when you get 12 targets in a game.
Right.
But only 4 receptions for 50 yards is just not great. I mean, that's 8.9 PPR points, and you're just disappointed by him again. Without a touchdown, it's disappointing. With a touchdown, okay, maybe you can make a case for it. Yeah.
Salvageable.
Right, it's very salvageable, but with 8.9 points, you just don't like to see that. Travis Hunter, again, came out of this game with 6 targets, 3 receptions for 22 yards, and I think Travis Hunter has a total of 55 yards on the year with 5 receptions.
Yeah, nothing
So, yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter just isn't anything in this offense either. So, I don't know. I mean, personally, I would like to stay away from the Jags offense as a whole in terms of fantasy. I think the only bright
Travis
spot...
Etienne is still very viable.
Right. I think that's really the only bright spot on this team is Travis Etienne, but I would stay away from Travis Hunter. Me, personally, I would stay away from Brian Thomas Jr. just for now until they figure things out.
And even T. Higgins right now, too. You kind of might want to shade him a little bit.
Yeah, I've never been big on T. Higgins, especially now that Joe Burrow is out. I would try and...
That's going to affect him more than Jamar.
Yeah, if you're in fantasy and you have T. Higgins, you got to look for someone who doesn't watch football avidly and just trade him to whoever doesn't watch football and be like, oh, this guy's
sounds
good.
like a great football name.
Sounds like a great football name. And as a matter of fact, he is a good football player. Yeah. But when Jake Browning is in the offense, I'm not too high on him. So I would be skeptical.
Maybe if you're a T. Higgins owner, give it one more week and see what it looks like. And then you can assess your situation at that point. Especially if you're like super like 0-3, you might as well get rid of them.
Might as well. Next game is the Bills at the Jets. The Bills win 30-10 with Josh Allen with a broken nose. I don't know if you saw that. And Justin Fields leaves this game with a concussion, so you just hate to see all of that. Both quarterbacks get banged up in this game, not necessarily out for the season or out for multiple weeks, but they absolutely do get banged up. Josh Allen did have a bloody nose. I don't know if it was in the first or the second quarter, but I know it was in the first half of the game. He comes back into the game. He finishes this game, and he just looked like your regular Josh Allen. I think the only thing that was very concerning for fantasy purposes is that Josh Allen did not score a single touchdown in this game where they scored 30 points. The big benefactor of that was James Cook with 132 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns.
Ballin'.
And I think James Cook really came out in this game. And I get it. It's the New York Jets. It's not the best football team. But he really shut everybody up. He said, you know what? I can absolutely do what I did last year again and again and again, and I'm just going to shut everyone up, and I'm going to shut all the haters up, especially fantasy haters, because I'm not going to lie. I was one of those.
Hating on him.
I was hating on him because when 50% of your production or more comes from touchdowns, it's really hard to repeat that, and everybody knows that. But 2 touchdowns out of the day, that's really good. He was, I believe, the number 2 running back on the week, just behind Jonathan Taylor. So kudos to James Cook on this game. The wide receiver core for this Buffalo team did not look good in this game against a helpless Jets defense. You know, I mean, the real bright spot on the Jets defense is Sauce Gardner, and not even Sauce Gardner, I think in my eyes, is held very highly, but I mean, Josh Palmer, 2 for 47. Dalton Kincaid was the biggest target here with 4 for 37. Keon Coleman only finishes this game with 3 receptions and 26 yards, 0 touchdowns. And I'm one of those guys who started Keon Coleman this week because I saw that the Jets were up on the schedule. He only ended the game with 5.6 PPR points, and I was highly disappointed.
Yeah, but that's the smart play right there.
Right. I mean, you come off of a game where
you don't know Josh Allen's going to throw 0 touchdowns. That's
right,
not
exactly.
typical.
And then against the Jets team, too, you'd expect him to throw 3, 4.
The matchup is favorable. Your quarterback is favorable. You might as well roll him out there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it happens sometimes.
Justin Fields, like I said, leaves this game with a concussion, but it almost looked like he was playing with a concussion prior to that. He only had 3 completions out of 11 attempts, so he was, 30% of his throws were completed with a 1.1 QBR. And I don't know if I've seen a QBR that low on ESPN this year, so that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I think you said that about somebody last week, too. Somebody who had a really bad QBR. I think it was Tua.
It might have been Tua or Russ.
No, it was probably Tua.
I would have to look back at it.
But yeah, anyways, Justin Fields, you were high on him coming in. You were also high on JJ McCarthy. Both of them picked up some early injuries, so it kind of sucks because their season will be set back due to these. He probably won't miss a lot of time, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Jets, they're already struggling with him, how they're going to do even without him now.
Yeah, if you're a fantasy manager that started Justin Fields, it's better than not having any points at all. He did score a couple points on the ground. He had 49 rushing yards, so that's basically 5 points right there. He threw 27 yards, so that's 0.25 points. So he basically scored you 5 points this week, which 5 is better than 0 or negative points, but it's just not what you want to see out of your QB1 on your team.
Yeah, but if you had a defense that played really bad, aka the Cowboys, then you had 2 players pretty much causing you negative points
basically
in your lineup. So just watch out for that.
It's not something to look forward to. What is something to look forward to is if Tyrod Taylor does start week 3.
T-Mobile.
I would not.
That's what they call him.
I would not be worried about Garrett Wilson moving forward this week because Garrett Wilson actually had most of his production when Tyrod Taylor came into the game. And Garrett Wilson finished the game with 4 receptions for 50 yards, which doesn't sound all that exciting, but 9 points with a backup QB. I mean, that's the best you can ask for.
I mean,
really.
he's going to make me eat my words for sure, but Tyrod Taylor's not the worst.
No, he's absolutely not the worst.
And he can move.
So.
You know what I mean? He can move a little bit, so he can move the pocket around. He can give these wide receivers a chance to get open when the play breaks down. So it's not the end of the road. And if anything, he's probably a better passer than Justin Fields.
If you had to guess, how old do you think Tyrod Taylor is?
He's actually not that young.
Yeah,
I feel like
know.
He's like 32.
36.
Yeah, you see, he's an older guy, man.
No, he's old. I mean, he's been in the league a while.
He's been playing forever.
Yep.
Him and Gino have been playing for like a long time.
Yeah, I think Gino's like 33.
People don't realize that, but it's because they just keep making an NFL roster year in and year out, and it's always with a different team, but they're around. They're in the locker room.
Yeah, Breece Hall was a guy that I was also very high on coming into the week, and he only had 10 carries for 29 yards against a defense that allowed Derrick Henry to rush for almost 200 yards. Again, the matchup may or may not have been favorable. I get it. It's only 1 week. You don't want to overreact to that 1 week, but you could only assume that after Breece Hall ran 100-plus yards on Pittsburgh, he could run 100-plus yards on a defense that allowed 100-plus yards the previous week. And it just did not go that way. He only had a long of 27 with 29 yards in the entire game. So it's just not fantasy viable. You were also disappointed if you started that guy. The next game was
Seahawks.
I lost my notes. The Seahawks at the Steelers. Seahawks beat the Steelers 31-17, and they absolutely cover the spread by 10 times the amount.
That was impressive too.
It was, and I honestly think this game was kind of funny because I was remembering back to last episode where you were like, nah, the Steelers are going to cover. And then I wanted to change my mind at the last second to go with the Steelers. And you're like, no, you went Steelers, or you went Seahawks. You went Seahawks.
Well, I'm just saying, based off of what we saw the week before with Aaron Rodgers, and then you were calling for the DK Metcalf revenge game, which kind of almost happened, but then they lost.
Yeah, it wasn't favorable.
But yeah, I mean, I just, and then Seattle didn't look that good against San Fran too. So it was like, you could see it happening. But then Seattle came and just like, they turned it around in this game.
Yeah, they really did. And there was a funny moment if you were watching this game. Caleb Johnson, who is their rookie running back coming into this year, they drafted him with great upside. And he was the kick returner on a kickoff where Seattle, they kind of kicked it into the new landing zone. and Caleb Johnson goes for the ball, and it kind of takes a weird bounce. It jumps up over his shoulder, and he thinks he doesn't touch it, and he just lets it run out of the end zone, and he starts walking off the field. And as he's walking off the field, the ball stays at the very back of the end zone, and the Seahawks come all the way down the field, 60, 70 yards, and recover it for a touchdown on the kickoff. So I think it was just something funny to see, and I honestly think that's maybe what could have won them this game. It was a 2-point differential or a 2-touchdown differential. So if they don't score that touchdown, you're looking at a 24-17 game, and maybe Pittsburgh changes their concepts up, and maybe they do tie this game, and we're looking at a whole different ball game. But Aaron Rodgers didn't look all that great. He had 1 touchdown to his only 2 interceptions, 203 yards. And
Aaron Rodgers caught a ball? What?
my bad. Jalen Warren, 14 carries for 48 yards. Again, not that efficient, 3.4 a carry. And on the receiving side, we just did not see much out of, again, either of these pass catchers. Jalen Warren was the benefactor, believe it or not. He had 4 receptions for 86 yards, which led the team in both categories, actually. DK Metcalf, who, again, I was high on coming into this game. I thought that he was going to shut up Seattle. He said, look at what I can do. And he did not do any of that. He said, look at what I can't do, with 3 receptions, 20 yards. He did have a touchdown, which did save his day, but 3 receptions is not what you like to see. He did lead this team with 6 targets, which is okay. But again, 3 receptions, 20 yards. That is not what you want from your wide receiver 1 on the team. On the other side, Jackson Smith and Jigbo looked outstanding again. Just another stellar game by him. Even without a touchdown, he was very productive for real football and fantasy. 8 receptions, 103 yards, 18.3 PPR points. Kenneth Walker, Chris, he said, eat this.
He said, eat my nuts.
He said,
disrespectfully
eat my nuts.
too.
13 carries, 105 yards to Zach Charbonnet's 15 carries, who actually out-carried him and only got 10 yards.
Yeah, that's wild. But it was the reverse script almost. Charbonnet didn't go that crazy in the first game, but he was more efficient the first game. And then I guess that's just the way this backfield's going to go. It's going to go in peaks and valleys for each of these players because he balled out.
Right, absolutely. Another guy I want to talk about is Sam Darnold, who nobody was real high on coming out of week 1. Everybody thought he played a bad game against San Fran. And he comes into week 2 in Pittsburgh. It's not a favorable matchup for him. Right. Everybody obviously had the Steelers taking it, and he balls out 22 of 33, 295 passing. He does have 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, so it kind of equals out there on the stat sheet. But I think his 2 touchdowns absolutely outweighed his 2 interceptions in this game. It didn't really feel like he threw 2 interceptions in this game. I think he had a really great game. But for fantasy, do you think he's one of those guys where it's like a plug-and-play situation where
based on the matchup?
Right, maybe you had a Brock Purdy as your number 1 QB, and now you got to go out on the waiver wire and pick this guy up.
Yeah. Or maybe as we get into bye weeks too. He might have a viable matchup, and then because they're going to play teams like the Rams, right? They're going to play the 49ers again. They're also going to play, who else is in that division? Arizona, so they're going to have some favorable matchups. So he's somebody that you can monitor, and then like when you have the opportunity to use a quarterback that's not on your team or add him and then sub him in, he's not half bad, and he's going to throw the ball too.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those guys, like I said,
but he will throw the ball to the other team.
He will. So, like, if you're a Joe Burrow manager,
but like, would you start him or Aaron Rodgers next week?
I'm starting Sam Darnold next week.
You see, so like already you can see some upside in him.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Darnold has a favorable matchup next week. He has the Saints in New Orleans, which is the little bit of the caveat there, but I don't think it means all that much when you're playing New Orleans.
Yep.
Next game that we got is the Rams at the Titans. The Rams win in demanding fashion, 33-19. Neither quarterback necessarily looked bad, if I'm being completely honest, in this game. Matt Stafford and Cam Ward, I wouldn't say Cam Ward balled out, but he also didn't look like a complete number 1 overall pick bust. It's just, I feel like Cam Ward has been one of the least talked about number 1 overall picks over the past decade, just because of the overshadowing that we had from this so-called elite class of running backs, and Shedeur Sanders was a big name to look out for, and obviously he ended up falling. But Cam Ward just really has not been talked about, and I don't think he's necessarily looked bad, but this Titans team has absolutely looked abysmal. Kyron Williams in the backfield, again, he did not find the end zone actually this week, which is unusual by Kyren Williams, and he was vultured by Blake Corum this week. So that was something to be just be aware of. I wouldn't say it's alarming because Kyren is still their bell cow. He had 17 carries for 66 yards. So I'm not worried if I'm a Kyren Williams manager, but to be vultured by your backup at the goal line, I mean, I don't know if that's favorable for him going forward the rest of the season. Puka Nacua actually did have a rushing touchdown as well. Devontae Adams came alive in this week, 6 receptions, 106 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. Matthew Stafford looked good, 23 for 33, 298 passing, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. Cam Ward didn't look, I wouldn't say great, but he also didn't look terrible, 19 of 33. He did have 1 touchdown, who did go to the new rookie, Alec Iomanor, which is his wide receiver 1 there. I mean, he's on pace to lead the team in targets right now with 6 targets. He had 4 receptions for 56 yards.
That was a crazy touchdown that he got.
It was a crazy touchdown. He went all the way to the right and he threw all the way across the field to the left.
He did the first thing that they tell you not to do.
Yeah, they tell every quarterback, whatever you do, don't throw across your body. And he said, fuck it, I'm throwing it.
He said, bro, that's the Titans, bro. What do you want me to do?
He said, I got nothing to live for. Let's do it. So he threw it all the way, and Alec Iomanor had a great touchdown.
Real fast on the Kyren Williams scene. I think there was one drive I remember watching where they were like first and goal from like the 4, and they threw every time.
Did they really?
Yeah. And so it's like, if they hand it off twice, his game script looks a lot different. So just, no panic if you're a Kyren Williams owner. But I mean, when you have teams like the Buccaneers, right? Or like maybe not so the Bills, but teams that like when they get to the end zone, like Justin Herbert and the Chargers, they like to throw the ball. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah, not much to talk about there with the Rams and the Titans. I mean, you kind of know how those teams have been going lately. The 49ers at the Saints, I called this an upset. I called that the Saints were going to win, and they almost pulled it off, which is kind of alarming if you're a 49ers fan or just if you're a 49ers player. I mean, I don't know what happened with the 49ers this week. Brock Purdy is still out, so it is Mac Jones at the helm. And when Mac Jones first came into the game, I was like, yep, they are 100% losing this game. And in the second half, he really came alive. I mean, he ended up throwing 3 touchdowns, which is just crazy. I mean, 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions is what you love to see out of your backup quarterback. 279 yards. He was 26 of 39. Spencer Rattler also really had a equal game. I mean, he had 25 for 34, 207 yards, and 3 passing touchdowns to 0 turnovers, which it was a very clean game. 0 turnovers and a lot of scoring, 26-21, like I said. The guys that scored the touchdowns were Juwan Jennings, which I was not high on coming into this week. I know he was dealing with that shoulder injury. Now he's even dealing with an ankle injury, but he was just hyper targeted on this team. And he was really the benefactor with 10 targets, 5 receptions, 89 yards, 1 touchdown. Christian McCaffrey also got a touchdown with 6 receptions, 52 yards, and that 1 receiving touchdown. The other guy that caught a touchdown was the backup tight end, Luke Farrell, 2 receptions, 15 yards, and a tutty. On the other side of the ball, Chris Olave got 10 targets once again, which we called it. We said that this guy was just going to be hyper-targeted in this new offense. Juwan Johnson is also just hyper-targeted in this offense. They both came away with almost double-digit targets. Juwan Johnson was the one that caught one of those touchdowns. Rashid Shaheed, I don't know if you saw that catch by him.
I did not.
He had like a little back shoulder fade catch, and it was just crazy. I mean, he's really something special when he's healthy, and I feel like he just has not been healthy ever since he's been
he's had a lot of hype for the last 3 years now.
I think it's been maybe 4 actually.
4 years, but he's never lived up to it. But I mean, he also hasn't had the best quarterback situation, so
no,
maybe once he is healthy, he can. Spencer seems like he likes to toss the ball around. So.
Yeah, I mean, he came into this offense or into this team right as Drew Brees had left, which is not the best time. You don't want to be on a team that loses their Hall of Fame quarterback. So, I mean, Alvin Kamara got a lot of work this week, 21 carries. Yep. I mean, that's just... He's different, man.
Yeah. He's going to keep getting that workload.
Yeah, he's going to keep getting that workload. And for the first 6 weeks of the season, I would be absolutely excited.
Yep.
After that, I don't know how much workload he can handle. He is getting older. Running backs that get older typically don't stay healthy the entire season.
And that fool likes to smack people around too.
Yeah, he does.
He runs so hard.
He's not one of those guys that's like, okay, I'm going to run out of bounds. He's like, I'm going to try and run through you.
Yeah. And then if for anyone that was like concerned about Christian McCaffrey so far, he's looking really good, getting a lot of usage. So especially in PPR leagues, he's really helping you out in the backfield.
Yeah, this was actually one of those interesting kind of out of the ordinary games where you had a lot of fantasy production against a not so exciting teams. You know, I mean, San Fran is not the most exciting team right now, and neither are the 49 or neither are the Saints.
They just beat up on each other a little bit.
Yeah, they really did. They were like, here, we're both bad. Let's just go at it.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. Nobody likes 3-3 games.
Right, exactly. You want to see the 26-21.
You want to see touchdowns.
Bears at the Lions.
Speaking of touchdowns.
If you love touchdowns, this was the game. I mean, there was a total of 10 touchdowns in this game between both teams. The Lions scored 7 touchdowns.
Everybody thought the Lions were done. Too.
Everybody thought the Lions were done.
They're like, no, they forgot how to score. They don't have any weapons. And it was like, what do you mean?
They were like, oh, this offense is done without Ben Johnson. The Bears are going to come in and whoop them and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And 52-21 was the final score. Detroit absolutely obliterates the Bears and Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. It was just 5 passing touchdowns by Jared Goff. I don't know how much more I have to say from this game.
That's crazy.
He was 23 of 28, 23 completions, and he had 5 touchdowns. It is just, I mean, when you usually have 5 passing touchdowns, you threw the ball 45, 50 times. And to throw the ball under 30 times and have 5 passing touchdowns to 0 interceptions, I don't know what's worse, the beatdown that Detroit put on them or how bad the Bears defense actually is, because we saw the Vikings team, and we will get into the Vikings in a little bit, but this Vikings team came back on them, scored 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter alone, beat them in a comeback game, and Detroit just scored 7 touchdowns on them. So I think this is one of those instances where you're going to want to play everybody against the Bears, because 10 touchdowns over the last 2 games allowed is just absurd. I mean, that's not what you like to see out of your defense. But if you're in fantasy and you're going against the Bears, that's what you love to see.
Yep.
So the Cowboys are next for the Bears, and we'll talk about that on Saturday's episode. And I'm actually kind of excited for that game. So
I'm not.
I'm not.
Hell no.
You think the Bears are going to find a way to come in and win it?
Caleb's going to fucking go Super Saiyan on him.
I don't think so.
I don't know, but Dak's gonna go Super Saiyan on the Bears too, so it's just gonna.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we think, and then it's gonna be 10-7.
Yeah, it's gonna be 14-3.
Brandon Aubrey's gonna hit a 75-yard bomb. But yeah, if you were like skeptical on the Lions, this game shows you everything that you wanted to see, so you can continue to roll out their skill players, no fucking questions asked. And then if you're a Bears fan, you should probably quit.
Yeah, I just find another team to root for.
Just maybe mosey on up to Lambeau Field over there. You know what I mean? They're looking good. Or go a little. I guess you can go more west to Detroit. I believe it's west.
East.
From Chicago.
Isn't it east?
No, well, Detroit would be that way towards Michigan. I could be wrong. No. Michigan is to the left of Chicago. So yeah,
don't ask me about geography. We had Jahmyr Gibbs go for 12
totally
carries.
Right on that.
94 yards on 12 carries. This is what you love to see out of Jahmyr Gibbs. He averaged 7.8 a carry with 1 touchdown. David Montgomery also got 11 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown had one of the best games I have seen out of him. 9 receptions, 115 yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. He basically dropped a 40 bomb in PPR. I have him on my team. He had 39.7 or something like that. It was just crazy to see.
He did all right out there.
Yeah, he was all right. Mediocre. Yeah. Jamison Williams caught a long bomb of a touchdown. He caught a 64-yard touchdown, but he only had 2 receptions.
Right.
And I don't really know how I feel about that. Yes, Amon-Ra is still your number 1. I don't think anyone is surprised about that. But for Jamison Williams to walk away from this game where they scored 7 touchdowns and he only got 4 targets, I don't know if I'm really excited about that. I was high on Jamison Williams coming into this year, and now I might not be so much.
Yep.
Roma Dunze on the other side also had a breakout game. He had 7 receptions on 11 targets, 128 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. DJ Moore looked non-existent in this offense that threw the ball, 33 times. So 5 receptions for 46 yards and nothing much to show for it. Caleb Williams also struggled in this game, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And those touchdowns really came in garbage time just because the Lions started to slow down a little bit on defense.
It felt bad.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, I was excited for this season with that new Ben Johnson offense. He did have 63 yards and a touchdown, so for fantasy, that's great. I mean, he did average 5.3 a carry. The problem is they're in negative game script. When you're in negative game script, you don't run the ball. And I think that's what I'm scared of if you're a DeAndre Swift manager, is I'm not necessarily scared of the talent. I'm more scared of how much are they going to be in negative game script to where they have to throw the ball 30, 35 times, 40 times a game and only run the ball 8 times, 12 times, 10 times with DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, there's a good chance they give up over 30 points again next week.
Yeah, I mean, this Cowboys offense that we saw just go to town with the Giants. The Cowboys win in overtime 40-37. The Cowboys do not cover the spread by 1 point. So if you bet on them to win, you won, but you didn't win. Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott looked like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning out there. And I know I said that about week 1's game against the Ravens and the Bills.
Right.
And we just saw it again. We just saw another game like
Another
that in
shootout.
week 2. It was an absolute shootout against. Neither one of those teams in week 1 were in week 2 in this game. So it's just crazy to see 4 separate teams go at it back-to-back weeks. Russell Wilson looked like he was Seattle's Russell Wilson again with 450 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Cam Scatterbo had a pretty decent game on the ground, 45 yards and 1 touchdown, and he outpaced Tyrone Tracy by a mile in carries. So I think this backfield might go to Cam Scatterbo a lot faster than people thought.
I mean, after that game, yeah. But also, I mean, maybe he benefited from playing the Cowboys in a way.
Also true.
I mean?
Yeah. Malik Neighbors had a great game, 9 receptions for 167 yards.
I called that one for sure.
What, the Malik?
Yeah, because you were like, Russell sucks. I was like, I know, but he's playing the Cowboys. And
Dude, okay, after looking bad against a Commanders defense, I was like, okay, there's no way they score, even 20 points in this game.
Yeah, but Dallas's defense is really bad.
I don't think they're really bad.
They are really bad. What do you mean?
I don't think they're really bad.
How many times did these guys get burned? They let Russell Wilson throw for 450 yards.
Okay, maybe
How is that not really bad?
You know what?
And they honestly should have lost this game, the Cowboys.
You know what? I don't even want to get into the Jalen Hurts slander because I don't like Jalen Hurts, first of all. Second of all, how are they able to lock down an Eagles offense that just came off of a Super Bowl, but they can't lock up a Giants offense?
Well, no, because the Eagles defense or offense is different. They don't they weren't passing like this. Like they were more of like, let's absorb the pressure. Jalen will pick up 5-10 yards. He'll eat them alive that way, right? More slow, methodical pace compared to Russell just throwing 60, 70 yard bombs over and over and over and over again.
Dude, there was one point in time in the game where it was like 40 seconds left.
And everybody knew it was coming.
Yeah. Dude, Russell Wilson, I think, threw 3 moon balls back to back to back.
Yeah, and they weren't even contested either.
No, and one of them finally hit to Malik Neighbors, and he had that like 50-yard long touchdown that was supposed to win them the game, but this guy Brandon Aubrey exists, and he just shut him up twice in a row.
He's the best player on the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, he really is.
Far.
Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors both had almost 150 yards, together. So they had 300 receiving yards together, which is just absolutely crazy. If you started Wan'Dale Robinson, you got 28 points out of him, and if you started Malik Neighbors, you had 38 points out of him. So that should tell you a lot about those two guys.
Also, if you come up against the Cowboys defense, roll out those wide receivers and those running backs.
Yeah, you just might have to after this. You absolutely have to.
And it's not going to get better for Dallas's defense. Teams are going to start to pick them apart even more.
So what? You're excited for Rowan Dunze next week?
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, like if you have a solid receiver, like I knew Neighbors was going to ball out. Like there was no way, especially just on target share alone. And then the way that the Cowboys secondary is, they play a lot of zone. It was just so easy for Russell to pick them apart. And then, honestly, Russell did have that big mistake throwing that interception because he just threw it up. But, I mean, you take the good with the bad with Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah, Dak Prescott on the other side of the ball had also 361 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. Javonte Williams, again, looked really good on the ground. And I know, Chris, you were talking him up a lot, and I was a little hesitant on him, but I wasn't out on him. He had 18 carries for 97 yards and a touchdown. Yep. And I think the Cowboys really hit the nail on the head with this one. I mean, they got him from Denver. Denver was completely out on him. They pick up J.K. Dobbins. They sign they draft R.J. Harvey with a high draft pick. And they're like, you know what? You guys can have our leftovers. And Javonte has looked really good 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
In fantasy, he's actually a top 3 running back on the year, which is just crazy to say.
Yeah, but I mean, we were talking about it before. Like, target the Cowboys running back, whoever it is.
Yeah, I mean, they always run the ball no matter what.
Yeah, they always run the ball. Miles Sanders even walked into the end zone on this one. So that could have been potentially more points for Javonte, but another person that also had a good game, Jake Ferguson, showing why he's valuable for that Cowboys offense.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson led this team with 12 targets, 9 receptions, and 78 yards. CeeDee Lamb tied him in receptions with 9, and he had 112 yards. Still, CeeDee Lamb has not found the end zone 2 weeks in a row, but I'm not hitting the panic button on CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he had another great showing back-to-back weeks against a good defense and a mediocre defense, so I think he's just fine. I mean, if he finds the end zone, it's even better. So the floor for CeeDee Lamb is just so high. George Pickens actually found the end zone this week, 5 receptions, 68 yards, and a tutty. And Kevontae Turpin was the other one that found the end zone, 4 receptions, 47 yards. And I wrote his name on the injury report just because after watching this game, yes, I know this is one of those games that doesn't happen every week, but people might be looking to put him on a roster, maybe not necessarily starting him, but you can throw him on your bench. Maybe if you had some injuries, maybe if you have some guys on the IR, you throw him on your bench for a bench spot, and in the worst case scenario, you got to start him. Now you can't. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I don't know if he's just questionable. I don't know if they move him to the IR. We don't really know what's going to happen with Turpin, but a neck injury is not something you like to see from a wide receiver. The other game was the Patriots at the Dolphins, and Chris, I want to flame you a little bit for this game because you said this was going to be an absolute abysmal game. It was going to be one of the most boring games of the week. And the Patriots and the Dolphins look like they played a playoff game in this one.
I guess, right?
And I mean, I guess it's a product of neither defense being great, but the offenses also didn't look all that bad. Especially the Patriots. Drake May just had a great game. And I know I am a little biased as a Patriots fan, but all biases.
Your bias is not showing at all. By
yeah,
I just want you to know that.
Definitely not. Absolutely not. But Drake May, he had a 77 QBR, 19 for 23, 230 yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. One of them went to Kayshon Boutte, who I did shout out on last podcast for a waiver wire pickup. I did pick him up in 2 leagues, but I didn't start him in either, which is great because I was a little worried that he was going to have a big game. He started the game out with 1 reception for 16 yards that went to the end zone, and he had nothing else after that. He had 1 target, 1 catch the entire game, so he was really shut down in this game. Drake May did not look his way for the rest of the game, which does scare me a little bit. 1 target is not what you like to see, even out of a wide receiver, like a flex play if you throw him in your lineup. So if you did start him, you got a decent, I think it was like 8 points that he scored, but if you didn't, you're not like, oh my God, I didn't start this guy. Ramondre Stevenson actually looked really good on the Patriots this week instead of Travion Henderson. He had 11 carries for 54 yards. He found the end zone, I believe. No, he did not, but he had a lot of work in the passing game, which is something that we saw out of Travion Henderson last week, and we thought that Travion was going to be the guy to get all of the checkdowns, and that's just not what happened this week. Ramondre had 5 receptions for 88 yards, and he paced everybody on the Patriots in receptions. He did not find the end zone, but he really should have. I mean, he was very close to getting a touchdown. He had that long 55-yard reception down the sideline, and he almost got to the end zone, but he was tripped up in the end. Stephon Diggs, again, was just really irrelevant in this game. I mean, the targets are going up very, very little, and I think if he sees 6-7 targets next week against the Steelers, who have been allowing a lot of offensive production against them over the past 2 weeks, then you can be like, okay, maybe Stephon Diggs is getting very close to being a starting wide receiver on a fantasy roster. But as of now, you really don't want to be starting anyone except maybe Drake May from this Patriots offense, right? Just because they still are trying to find their feet or their footing where they're going to go in this season. Do they want to attack more on the ground game? Do they want to attack more through the air? And it's been very heads up or a coin toss at this point, if you could call it. Tua had 315 yards, and a lot of it was garbage time. A lot of it was trying to play comeback. He had 2 passing touchdowns to 1 interception, and that 1 interception was very crucial in this game. It came late in the game when they were trying to mount a comeback, and New England just absolutely said, this is our game. We came into it, blowing heads off. Like, I don't know, the Patriots defense looked really, really good to start this game, and they just did not finish this game very well. Devon Achane had 11 carries for 30 yards, which is horrible from your running back, but he was great in the pass catching game. 8 receptions, 92 yards, and a touchdown. He was like a wide receiver too out there.
Yep.
And
just throw him the ball and let him work.
Yeah,
That's
they had no groundwork, and I get it. You're playing comeback, but 11 carries, 30 yards. Like, this is why I've never been high on Devon Achane, because if he doesn't get receiving work, he's not a good fantasy option.
Yep. Or if Miami's just terrible like they've been.
Right. Tyreek came to life in this game, 6 receptions, 109 yards, and throughout social media, he even found out about it because the media told him in the locker room. And they came out saying, you know what, Tyreek, like, how do you feel that it's been, X amount of time since you've had a reception over 30 yards? And he actually said, oh, so you guys are really trying to piss me off. And he came out in this game and he finally had a reception over 30 yards. It was 47 yards long. The cheetah, man, sometimes you just can't stop him.
Yeah, don't piss off a cheetah, man.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle found the end zone as well. 5 receptions, 68 yards. And we did bring up his name earlier on the injury report with now a shoulder injury. And I think Jalen Waddle's kind of just one of those guys that he's tough. He plays through everything. You might not like to see that he plays through everything, but he really doesn't at the end of the day. We actually have something to get into. We have a voice message from one of our listeners. Shout out one of my friends, Kai. He wanted to call in. He wanted to talk about the Dolphins. He's a Dolphins fan. And I do want to say that if you guys want to outreach to us, if you guys want to leave us a message, you can leave us a DM. You can leave us a voice note on Instagram or on TikTok. Or if you know me personally, you are more than welcome to call me, leave a voicemail, leave a message, and we will absolutely answer your questions. If you're just a regular listener and you don't want to find us on social media, you can drop a comment down below and we will get back to you guys. But let's go ahead and listen to this message that we have from Kai.
All right, let me pull this up really fast. Here we go. Let's make sure that volume button's up because you know how that goes. And here we go.
Yeah, Kai here. I got a question for you guys. What do you think is wrong with the Dolphins? How are they not successful? Is Quinn the answer? And if he is the answer, is there any way they end up in the playoffs?
So that's a very loaded question. Let's break it down.
Just the fact that he dropped Quinn Ewers in already. That's my favorite part of the question.
Yeah,
Quinn
so
is Quinn the answer? Who? Brady Quinn?
Brady Quinn.
Quinn
so
Ewers.
He's obviously talking about the Dolphins. If you didn't catch on to that, obviously he did say, "What's wrong with the Dolphins? Why are they not successful?" And is Quinn Ewers the answer? Quinn Ewers was their draft pick, and I believe the 7th round. He's the quarterback out of Texas. And we do know the Arch Manning story now, how Arch Manning has been struggling in this Texas offense. So it's really a matter of, was Texas the product of Quinn Ewers, or was Quinn Ewers the product of Texas? And I think we saw really that Texas was the product of Quinn Ewers. And it's crazy to say because Quinn Ewers is not a starting quarterback in the NFL right now, but Arch Manning doesn't look great either. So it's kind of just one of those where you'll never really know unless one of them got the starting job with the exact same roster. And that exact same roster is not the roster that we have now for Texas is not the same as we had last year. So,
but to go back to Kai's question, what's wrong with the Dolphins?
There's a lot wrong with the Dolphins.
There's a lot wrong, but I guess number one is that if you're already looking towards Quinn Ewers, then you must not have a lot of faith in Tua, which it's kind of hard to have faith in them right now, but you guys did pay him some money. So, you know what I mean? You're going to be stuck with this guy. So you guys have to figure out how to improve, I would say, the protection for Tua and then maybe just shoring up some defense because their defense is really bad too.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that's wrong with the Dolphins is honestly their head coach.
A lot of people are out on Mike McDaniels now, but he was the hot up and coming coach for a little bit.
Yeah, he was the poster boy for a while, and everybody was looking his way. Everybody was like, the Dolphins have it down. That's the year that they made the playoffs. It was 2 years ago now that they lost to the Chiefs in the wild card game. That was the same year that they put up 70 points on the Broncos, who is now one of the better teams in the league. And I feel like just the same concepts that they had 2 years ago, defenses started figuring it out. Defenses started watching film on these guys way more, and they just really figured out how to shut them down. And the way you shut them down is you play too high coverage and you take away Tyreek, you take away Jalen Waddle, and this offense goes to crap. You know, I mean, Tua is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league over the last 2 years when you take away his number one read. And it's just, that's not what you want to see. You want to see a quarterback go through his progressions. You want to be able to see production out of your quarterback, even when your wide receiver one gets taken away. We saw it multiple times with Brady and Manning and Breeze, where no matter who you put in that offense, they're going to make it work. And that's how it should be. That's what you want out of your quarterback. And Tua has never been that kind of guy. When Tyreek gets taken away, he panics, so he dumps it off to Devon Achane, and that's why Devon Achane has been such a fantasy like god. You know, because you want to see targets from your running back. You don't want to see 20 carries for 30 yards. Instead, you want to see what he got this week, which is 8 receptions for almost 100 yards and 1 touchdown. So that's almost just like having an extra wide receiver on your team. I don't think the Dolphins make the playoffs this year.
No, dude.
I think they're absolutely out. Like I don't
even think Mike
they have a
McDaniels
chance.
makes it through probably midway through the season if they.
I say he's done by week 8.
At this pace, yes.
At
If
this
they
pace?
turn it around, which there's no inclination that they will, then that's different. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. The NFL is a tough league. It's tough to be a consistently good team. And,
It's cutthroat.
and yeah, sometimes, your quarterback doesn't work out, your head coach doesn't work out, and sometimes you have to tear it all down and start from scratch. So maybe that's what the Dolphins need to do.
You think they just got to blow up the whole thing and you trade Tyreek
I mean,
for
Tyreek
some
is already
picks?
mad, right? He's already
Yeah.
pissed off. I mean, he probably doesn't like playing with Tua as much as he liked playing with Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean,
so-
I think I know which one I'd want to play for.
Yeah, so I mean, it just, you don't want to lose the locker room this early in the season, but I mean, if it keeps going that way, then yeah, you're going to see guys checking out. You're going to see guys ready to be moved on from the organization.
And then Quinn Ewers. I mean,
Nope.
do we see? Okay,
No,
I don't think
dude,
he's the answer.
no.
I don't think he's the answer. Listen,
Oh my God.
my God,
Quinn
dude, you're
Ewers,
like
dude.
you're worse than my girlfriend, bro. I
Well, yeah, when
swear.
people bring up Quinn Ewers, and this was the same thing, like when you were hyping up JJ McCarthy, like, bro, let's see them play first.
listen,
God,
I
is
didn't-
it so much to ask to see them play?
you didn't even know what am I gonna ask?
I don't know.
Exactly. Do we see Quinn Ewers start a game? That's my question.
With the track record that Tua has with getting hurt, yes.
See how easy it was.
That was very hard to do.
No, okay.
And I can't believe I just admitted that live on a podcast. Well, I guess it's not live.
Oh God.
It's being taped, right?
Let's talk about the more boring.
But no,
games.
dude, Quinn Ewers, even if he does start, he's going to have a hard time. Because when he played at Texas in the biggest games, when he played the better collegiate defenses, he really struggled. So there's nothing to tell me that he's going to all of a sudden make a transition from the college game to just walk into the NFL and just fucking start. By the way, I think if I'm correct, Gavin Hardison, former UTEP quarterback, is actually on the practice squad for the Dolphins. So
Is he really?
I think so. I could be wrong. I
remember
know
that
he
name.
was in the mini camp. I don't know if he made it out of that, but just another potential minor floating around the NFL.
Let's talk about one of the more boring games that we saw out of this week, the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. There was zero competition in this game. The Ravens just came out firing. Lamar Jackson had 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. One of the crazy things is that Derrick Henry was only held to 23 yards in this game, where the previous week he rushed for 150 plus yards on the Buffalo Bills. So to be held to 23 yards, this Cleveland defense might be legit and their offense just might not be. Joe Flacco had 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Quinshon Judkins saw most of the backload or the workload of the backfield, 10 carries, 61 yards. He did not find the end zone. The 2 that found the end zone were Cedric Tillman and Dylan Sampson. Hold on a minute. Oh, I forgot Dylan Gabriel came out in this game. He was 3 for 3, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. I get it, 3 for 3 isn't the most prolific game, but technically he did have 100 QBR. I mean, he didn't miss an incompletion, 0 turnovers, and one of his passes went for a touchdown. So technically he's off to a really good start. But you don't want to say that just off of 3 passing attempts. Jerry Jeudy had 9.1 fantasy points. Harold Fannin Jr. once again ate into this workload of David Njoku, who only had 4 receptions for 40 yards, while Harold Fannin had 5 receptions for 48 yards. Jerome Ford got a lot of the pass work with 5 receptions for 23 yards. So again, there was a lot of potential viable fantasy options in this game. Zay Flowers caught 7 for 75, and I was wrong on him. I thought he was going to come out and just have not the best game. I didn't say he was going to be bad, but I didn't think he was going to be the best. 14.5 fantasy points is what you want to see out of maybe a flex option or a wide receiver too. DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Walker, and Tylan Wallace were the 3 guys that found the end zone for the Ravens, which is just the names you don't want to hear on a weekly basis for fantasy. But this was a really good game, just all around by the Ravens. They shut them down on defense. It was real garbage time where the Browns saw all of their real success, I guess you could say, even though they weren't all that successful. So we did see Dylan Gabriel already in week 2. I don't know if we see him again in week 3 or if Flacco is out there. Another game was the Broncos and the Colts. This was a crazy game, honestly. It came down to the wire. If you did not see it, fourth quarter, there was basically no time left on the clock. The Colts... What was that? Oh my God.
There may not be a dog in the studio.
May or may not be a dog. I don't know. You know who does have that dog in him?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
I saw that one coming.
Dude, Bo Nix and Daniel Jones looked really good both in this
game.
game.
Bo looked a lot better than the week 1.
Absolutely. It was something to not be alarmed about. You don't want to hit the panic button on Bo Nix yet. He had a great game, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have that 1 interception. Daniel Jones, like we said, he got that dog in him, 316 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. You know who else has that dog in him?
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor's got that dog in him, 25 carries, 165 yards on the ground. And he also had 50 yards in the air. He was our player of the week. If you saw on Instagram, go make sure to check us out on Instagram. You know who else has that dog in him? Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren got 4 receptions for 79 yards. We got a lot of dogs in this game. J.K. Dobbins came alive in this game. 14 carries, 76 yards, 1 touchdown. You know who else got that dog in him? Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin got that dog in him. 8 receptions, 89 yards, and 1 touchdown. He paced this team like absurdly in targets and in receptions. The next highest target in this offense was Adam Troutman. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Cortland Sutton had 4 targets, but Adam Troutman had 3, which is weird. But Cortland Sutton, 4 targets, 1 reception for 6 yards. If you started Cortland Sutton, I'm sorry.
That one hurt a lot.
I made the wrong call in one of my leagues. I started him over, I believe it was Tet McMillan. Okay. And I was like, okay, like they're going to play the Colts. It's going to be a better matchup. I think Bo Nix comes alive. Bo Nix came alive. And Cortland Sutton basically stayed on the bench. 1.6 points is what he got for me. Well, Tet McMillan got 18 on my bench. So it was just not great. J.K. Dobbins, again, is just the lead back in this team. R.J. Harvey, that was your sit of the week, Chris.
We kind of called that one.
Yeah, 5 carries, 8 yards. That's nothing. Yeah. I mean, he went out there and he stood on the field.
And Dobbins was always effective with Baltimore, too. So, like, it's not surprising to see him take command of this backfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he can catch the ball, too. So he's, like, very versatile in that way.
Yeah, we talked about Michael Pittman Jr. maybe being the benefactor of this new Colt offense. And he wasn't necessarily worthless, but he had 4 receptions for 40 yards, which is a little bit of a step down from what we saw in week 1. Tyler Warren might be the number 1 option in this team. 4 receptions, 79 yards, just back-to-back great weeks for him. Josh Downs saw more of the work this week, 6 receptions for 51 yards, and he led this team in receptions. The other game that we had was the Eagles and the Chiefs. That was the afternoon game. This was supposed to be the game of the week, and I think it was the most boring game we saw all week long, like just all weekend long. I get it. It's a very defensive matchup, but not honestly, neither one of the defenses looked all that great.
Yeah, but the Falcons and Vikings would like to have a word of boring games.
Yeah, we'll get to them right now. Jalen Hurts was 15 to 22, 101 passing yards, which, I mean, really? 101 yards against a team that,
he's good, man. Jalen Hurts is good, but he's not a prolific passer.
No, absolutely not.
And I think the system really helps him a lot because I don't think he would do this well in most other places. I don't know.
I mean, if you put him on,
I mean, how many times does this guy get a tush or what is it? Tush push for a goddamn fucking first down? Yeah, like, dude, we get it, dude. Throw the ball. That's all I'm saying. Throw the ball, Jalen. Toss the ball, my guy.
Yeah.
Okay? It's football.
101 passing yards. My God.
It's not like I had him in a parlay or anything because I didn't, because I don't like the Eagles. But, like, I could see people taking his over on that. and then them just being completely let down because he cannot throw the ball.
They saw the over under of like 175 and they're like, oh, that's low. Like hit the over. They're playing the Chiefs. And he went 75 yards under that. So that's pretty bad.
Ball.
Saquon Barkley had 22 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. Devonta Smith led this team with receiving yards, 4 receptions, 53 yards. AJ Brown had 5 receptions for only 27 yards. 5 receptions, 27 yards. It's 7.7 PPR fantasy points. Again, back-to-back weeks, AJ Brown has not been over 2 weeks. AJ Brown does not have over 10 fantasy points.
Yeah. And also, like, Devontae didn't have a good week 1 either, so he just improved. He just got a little bit better.
He got a little bit better, but I mean, AJ Brown. I mean,
but yeah, the passing attack in Philly is not where you thought it would be right now.
No, absolutely not. On the other side of the ball, we had Patrick Mahomes, 187 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And he's like the RB1 and the QB1 on this team.
Yeah,
Patrick
right
Mahomes had 7 carries for 66 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Travis Kelce, 4 receptions, 61 yards. Tyquan Thornton had that big long bomb touchdown. If you saw that in that game, it was later in the game. He had 2 receptions, 60 yards, and 1 touchdown. Hollywood Brown also had 5 receptions for 30 yards, which if you started Hollywood Brown in your flex, maybe you're not all that bummed out about it. 8 points isn't something to be like, oh my God, I should have started someone else, but it's also not like something you want to be starting every week. So maybe move off of him for the next week. They do have the Giants next week on prime time. So, I mean, actually, maybe you throw him in your lineup again because we just saw CeeDee Lamb, Cavante Turbin, Jake Ferguson, and George Pickens all have really good games. So, Jim, maybe you throw him in your lineup. I want to throw out this little fun fact. I know I said that Patrick Mahomes was the RB1 on this team, but did you actually know that he's in like the top 50 or top 75 in rushing yards throughout the season so far?
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Well, it's only 2 games, but I mean, that is crazy.
I get it. It's only 2 games.
And that is what you said, top 50?
Like, I think it was like top 50. I would have to look for it again, but
that's crazy.
I want to say it was top 50 if I'm not mistaken. I was like,
but just in rushing yards?
Just in rushing yards. Here, watch. Hold on. Let me find it.
Okay, that's a crazy stat. Yeah. What? Eagles fans, I hate you, by the way. That's all I got to say.
Eagles fans, I
just really don't like you guys. I really have disdain for you
Why
guys.
don't you like them?
I don't know, dude. I just, there's something about them. You look at them and you're like,
oh my God, I was so off. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like a really weird stat.
Are you ready for this?
Where's
Patrick
he at?
Mahomes, number 16.
Okay, so how many yards does he have rushing then?
123.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's kind of a lot of rushing yards for a quarterback.
Yeah, what do you mean kind of? That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Well, I mean, unless you're Michael Vick.
You want to know who he's in front of? I'll give you some names who he's in front of.
These are running backs.
These are running backs. Okay. DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
Jahmyr Gibbs.
It's okay because there's another running back there that they share a lot of the workload.
Bucky Irving.
That might have changed, right? He had a big game yesterday.
Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard sucks. Panthers.
Okay, relax. Chase Brown.
Bad year. Yeah, so far. He was so hyped up too. That's
he's
crazy.
In front of all of these running backs.
That might change though.
The 3 guys in front of him, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, Christian McCaffrey.
That's crazy.
That's insane. So
but that's not good if you're a Chiefs fan.
No, I mean, I think
that's actually really bad.
You might want to change his tag in sleeper and throw him in your running back 1 spot.
Just have Travis Kelce run the quarterback position.
Basically, I mean, I think he can get double the points, like get all of the rushing points and get all of the passing points in 2 separate spots.
That is wild.
I mean, they have no run game, and I don't really know what the Chiefs are doing on the ground. I mean, who do they have? I mean, Isaiah Pacheco has been non-existent. Kareem Hunt has been non-existent. And this guy is just getting all of the work, Patrick Mahomes, on the ground. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
It's not sustainable at all.
It's not. The next game we got is Sunday night's game. It was a snooze fest. I mean, the only touchdown scored in this game was Tyler Algier, which is not what you like to see. I mean, not even Bijan Robinson scored in this game, and Bijan had, I think, 20 fantasy points once again. So Bijan Robinson is just built different. He's this entire offense. They're running the ball 15 times a game with him. He's also getting like 7 receptions a game. Drake London and Justin Jefferson and Kyle Pitts and TJ Hawkinson all just had garbage games. You didn't really want to start any one of these guys. You weren't excited if you started any one of these guys. JJ McCarthy, who we now know suffered an ankle injury on a hip drop tackle. He's now out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. So he was playing bad throughout the entire game. You can't use that as an excuse for him playing bad in this game. Maybe you can make the excuse for that late interception that he threw in the game, but that's about it. I mean, 3.5 quarters, he was perfectly healthy. So there's no blame to put on anyone but JJ McCarthy for this loss. Jordan Mason also just no groundwork in this game. Jordan Mason, JJ McCarthy, and Aaron Jones all combined for only 78 rushing yards, so under 100 yards for this entire offense. While on the other hand, Atlanta rushed for a combined 218 yards. Bijan Robinson almost 150 yards on the ground, not to mention his 25 yards in the air, which is great for a running back one. Tyler Algier actually got a lot of carries in this game too, 16, so they ran this ball 38 times between 2 running backs. Michael Penix had a decent game. He kept them afloat. I think this is going to be one of those instances like almost like Philly. Like your quarterback does not have to throw the ball 50 times to win a game. Yep. You give the ball to Bijan, you're good.
Yeah, and then your defense has to be kind of, quasi good because you can't get into shootouts that way.
Right, absolutely.
But yeah, Bijan is a beast. That guy is, that was the best thing about Texas that Quinn Ewers had, if I think about it now.
Did they?
I think he played for like a year.
For like a year, yeah.
But anyways, keep rolling him out there. Tyler Algier, grab him if you can, because if anything was to happen to Bijan, this is an automatic RB1 just sitting on the bench right now.
Yeah, you plug and play him if Bijan were to go down, especially with that workload he has. I mean, 16 carries as a backup. Imagine what he does as your number one.
And then also obviously they would pick up another back, right? If anything was to happen to Bijan, but Tyler Algier's been with the Falcons. It's I want to say his whole career.
I think it's been 4 years now.
So I mean that's just a good fit. And it would be seamless for them to transition because he kind of plays like Bijan. He can ball catch, and then he's just a power nose runner once he's up in space.
Yeah, we got a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. It was the Bucs at the Texans. The Bucs win 20-19, and the Chargers beat the Raiders in Las Vegas 20-9. We had a lot of fantasy relevant names. If you were to list all of them, I could sit here and list them for a minute straight. We had Baker Mayfield and CJ Stroud with the Bucs, Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Nick Chubb, Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Kate Otten, Dalton Schultz, Justin Herbert, Geno Smith, Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, and Jacoby Myers. I didn't even list Brock Bowers. So there was a lot of names to look out for in these games. And the first game that we got, the Bucs and the Texans, started off very, very hot. We had a lot of scoring in the first half, and it really cooled down in the second half. I think there was 0 points scored in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be very wrong on that. The Bucs won in a thriller. They had a late 2-minute drill drive down the field. Baker was just different. He should have gotten hurt and exited this game like 3 separate times. And I don't know if you saw that clip of him where he goes down and he reaches for his ankle right away. And I think it was CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Is his antidote.
Yeah, CJ Gardner-Johnson is standing over him talking shit. And then he gets up right away and gets in his face and he starts yelling at him. And he goes off to finish the game and win them the game. He was 25 of 38, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns with no turnovers. CJ Stroud had 207 yards with 1 touchdown, which went to Nico Collins early in the game. Nico Collins ended the game with 3 receptions for 52 yards and a touchdown. Nick Chubb actually looked halfway decent in this game finally. 12 carries, 43 yards, and 1 touchdown. We saw a little bit of Woody Marks action, which is the rookie. I believe he came out of USC, if I'm not mistaken. 3 carries, 14 yards, which is not fantasy relevant, but it is something to maybe look out for in case Nick Chubb were to get less work or were to get hurt and we don't see Joe Mixon back, which we actually not have had an update on Joe Mixon. We've had a lack of updates on Joe Mixon, which is scary.
Yeah, I mean, the less news means that he's not even close. Well, no, it just means he's not even close to seeing the field.
Yeah.
Because once they're already running with once they're already away from individual drills and they're with the team, then it's coming at some point, right? And maybe they just need a bye week or something. But right now, it's you're kind of in a desert, wondering what the hell am I going to do with this guy? And if it keeps going that way, you might consider even moving on from him.
Yeah. On the other side, Bucky Irving and Rashad White were actually both very relevant for fantasy purposes. I don't know if necessarily there was a lot of people that started Rashad White, Bucky Irving had a great game. I think he had 18 PPR points, 17 carries, 71 yards, no touchdown to his name. But he did have 6 receptions for 50 yards, which is great for fantasy. Rashad White had 10 carries for 65 yards and 1 rushing touchdown, while he also got a little bit of work in the passing game. Oh, no, never mind. I thought he got way more. It was 2 receptions for 1 yard, so never mind. Sterling Shepard actually got a lot of work in this game, which is surprising. 4 receptions, 34 yards. Mike Evans, 5 for 56. Kate Otten, 3 for 25, and Emeka Egbuka once again finds the end zone. 4 receptions, 29 yards, and a tutty. I'm actually really excited for Emeka Egbuka. The only thing that scares me, like we talked about way early in the season, is if Chris Godwin comes back,
he's going to come back,
which he will in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Right.
Does Emeka Egbuka keep this up? Does he keep like a rookie of the year campaign going, or does he really see the back seat and Chris Godwin comes in and he's like a number 1?
No, you can't like totally shut him from the rotation, right?
Right.
Because you could also rotate Mike Evans out if you need it. I mean, he's older. So another thing too, what if Mike Evans gets hurt? Then it's just like, it's a like for like situation. It's not swap, but like, I mean, for production, you just move Godwin up and then he comes in and fills the other spot. So no, I mean, if you drafted him, you feel good about it, keep rolling him out for now. And then once Godwin comes back, you'll have to monitor the situation. But Baker can keep 3 of these guys relevant if he really wanted to. Now, if the tight end position, like Kate Otten is not really balling right now, but if he was to come along, then that would maybe switch things up.
Last game was the Chargers at the Raiders. The Chargers were favored by 4, and they absolutely covered. 20-9, Justin Herbert once again had a great game, while on the other hand, Geno Smith did not look great whatsoever. He had 3 interceptions on the day with 0 touchdowns, and I'm very concerned for this Raiders offense. I don't know where they go after this. I know Ashton Genty did not have a great game either. Omari and Hampton on the other side of the ball. I think we're hitting the panic button on both of these guys. I mean, I get it. It's only week 2. They're rookies. I can understand where someone is like, you know what, don't hit the panic button, but you're a number 1 or you're a number 1 draft pick for said team. Ashton Genty top 10. Omarion Hampton, I think, was like pick 24, 27 or whatever it was. And these guys combined for like 10 fantasy points, which is not what you want to see whatsoever. The stats are not loading. I don't know why. I'm really trying to pull up the stats for these guys. But off the top of my head, I know that Omarion Hampton had like 44 yards on the ground, and Ashton Genty had 44 yards on the ground. Omarion Hampton had like 16 yards or something like that.
Well, maybe it's like on us for getting so excited about these guys. But I had always said, let these guys come play first, bro.
Right.
Like being drafted high doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It literally means nothing. So like until you can actually get on the field and show that you can be productive, like sometimes it's the guy drafted in the 6th, 7th round. It's not always your first rounders that go, or it's not the running back that did the best in college, because a lot of these guys don't get a fair shake. You know what I mean? The colleges do a lot of dual running back systems. So you never know which back can actually be successful at the next level. Don't hit the panic button on them yet. But I mean, you've seen it time and time again where some of these guys don't pan out, no matter where, regardless of where they're drafted.
Yeah, Justin Herbert had 242 yards and 2 through the air.
He had that bomb too.
Yeah, it went to Quentin Johnson, who had 3 receptions, 71 yards, and 1 touchdown in the air. Keenan Allen also found the end zone once again, back-to-back weeks.
K-Will. Or not K-Will. Why did I call him K-Will? I don't know what I was doing there.
I think you're thinking of Kyron Williams.
No. Maybe. I was thinking of Keenan because I love that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the second week in a row where Ladd McConkey really looked like the wide receiver 3 in this offense, which I don't think is really all that alarming. Maybe for where you took Ladd McConkey, because Ladd McConkey was really like a round 2 pick. Maybe even a round 1, depending on who reached on him, maybe round 3, depending on who was out on him. But in between the first 3 rounds is where Ladd McConkey was drafted, and he's not putting up round 2 production. He's really putting up like round 5, round 6 production, which is not bad. And I think this new offense that we're seeing out of the Chargers, Justin Herbert can actually keep 3 wide receivers relevant for fantasy, and that's what he's done 2 weeks in a row. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson. And Quentin Johnson was a first-round pick 3 years ago, and now maybe we're seeing the emergence of him, because the last 2 years, all we've really heard of is he can't hold on to a ball to save his life. And now he is getting all of the work. He's gotten 3 receptions the first game. I know he had 2 touchdowns the first week. So I mean, I think we really are seeing the breakout of Quentin Johnson. I think I'm really bought in on him this year.
Yeah, and most fantasy players are. A lot of them went and picked him up after week 1. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna determine, or what's gonna determine if he can keep these guys fantasy relevant is if they keep scoring, like having these games where they score a lot. They didn't really do so against the Raiders, which I was surprised. I thought they would have scored maybe like 3 or 4 touchdowns because the Raiders don't look that good. But yeah, another solid addition for the Chargers, and they look like they could be potentially playoff bound again.
Yeah, absolutely. They look like they're ready to make a playoff push, especially with that defense that just really has come alive.
Right. And that division too, like Denver's probably going to be like they're there, but like if Mahomes is this bad too, they're already 0-2. They could have an easy walk into the playoffs, you know?
Yeah. On the other side, the Raiders look helpless against this Chargers team. Geno Smith, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Ashton Genty, 11 carries for 43 yards. He's averaging 3.9 in this game. Zamir White had 2 carries for -2 yards. I just wanted to put that out there. That was kind of funny.
Zamir.
Jacoby Myers, if you're a fantasy manager of him, don't hit the panic button on him. He saw double-digit targets in this game, but he only had 6 for 68 with no touchdown. And he will find the end zone more this year. It's just a matter of if and when. I don't know, this Raiders team, I think everybody was hyped up on them week 1 after they beat the Patriots, and the Patriots were missing a couple of key players. They got them back, some of them in week 2, and they're still missing Christian Gonzalez. So we don't really know where teams lie. The first 3-4 weeks of the season, everybody's still trying to find their footing. We're trying to work out the balances, who's really fantasy relevant, who's really not fantasy relevant, who just had a unicorn game, and who's going to fade out the rest of the year. So we're still finding out a lot of things. We talked about our starts and sits, and we kind of missed on some of them. One of the big ones that you hit on the week was Javonte Williams, and I want to applaud you for that one.
We hit some good ones. I mean, not everybody was a fucking bust, but I mean, yeah, like
what would you consider a bust for fantasy?
Well, I mean, just like
I feel like under 10 points, right?
Yeah, like Brees Hall bust, right?
Yeah.
James Conner, not a bust, but very,
fringe bust,
very mediocre.
Yeah. DK Metcalf, that touchdown saved his day.
Yeah, like other than that, I mean, yeah, like not people that just underperform. Chase Brown, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have Chase Brown. Trust me, I know it.
But yeah, we hit the head on Javonte, and then with the sits, I mean, we both said Isaiah Pacheco, I think, right?
Yeah.
You said Zay, probably didn't work out there. I said Kenneth Walker.
I did say Genty, who that didn't
and
work
then
out.
RJ Harvey was one, and then I also said Jamison Williams. So we went about half and half right there.
Yeah, about half and half. I think the big one was Ashton Genty, and you looked at me like,
don't
sit him. Like,
but we only had 1 week of a
sample size.
See, you know what I mean? So now we can kind of gauge it a little bit better. We'll start getting a better feel for what these defenses and what these offenses really are.
Yeah, let's round out the episode with 2 things real quick. We got the waiver wire ads. We have 4 of them today, and 4 of them? Yeah, we got 4 of them today, and we got some lines for Thursday Night Football. So let's talk about our waiver wire ads. Our top 4 are going to be Romeo Doubs at 24% roster spot. We did see Jaden Reed. He did go under successful surgery, so prayers out to him for a speedy recovery. Romeo Doubs might be the benefactor along with Tucker Kraft. And Tucker Kraft, we know, is more than likely rostered in your league if you're in a 10, 12, even 8-man league. So I don't think he's going to be on the waiver, but if he is, pick him up. Romeo Doubs, like we said, only 24% rostered on Sleeper, so go get him. He will be the benefactor more than likely alongside guys like Matthew Golden. We just don't know who exactly is going to be the benefactor, but Romeo Doubs probably has the higher chance. Tyquan Thornton, wide receiver for the Chiefs. Again, Xavier Worthy might not be 100% week 3. We're still missing Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce cannot catch 11 balls for 200 yards anymore.
He can try,
but I don't think he's going to, and he might get hurt doing it. Right. So Tyquan Thornton, we saw that big long bomb from him, and maybe it happens again in week 3. We just don't know yet. They do play the Giants, who let up, again, we saw that abysmal defensive fallout from both teams. Blake Corum is the other guy. These 2 guys are not necessarily guys to like absolutely throw everything out the window for, but these are some handcuffs to look for maybe in the next coming weeks.
Well, they're not guys that you would be planning to play like in the immediate future.
No. These are long-term guys that maybe you want to stick on your waiver wire. Maybe you want to look like a fantasy guru and say, you know what, I knew about him all along. Right.
You just want to be ahead of the curve, like in all things of life. You want to be ahead of that curve because that curve is there, and we need to.
We just don't know when it's going to come.
Right.
So we know it's going to come,
but stay ahead of it.
Right.
If you're ahead of it, you don't have to get behind it, if you will. But yeah, that's the idea of these two. Like I said, not somebody you're ideally going to turn around and start in week 3, but somebody that if you pick up now can literally be one of the most valuable moves that you make going forward into the season.
Yeah, give us those names because you were actually the one that.
Yeah, Blake Corum, he scored in the game for the Rams. He's the backup to Kyron Williams. He's from Penn State. I believe it's his second or third year.
I think it's the second.
Plays a very similar style of running, and he's in the passing game too. You know the usage that these guys have. So if anything was to happen to Kyron, this guy's available in what, like 13% of leagues, you said?
No, he's only rostered in
Or yeah. So that means he's available in what, 82%? Or God, that's so bad at math. He's available in your league more likely than not.
Yeah.
And then like that's valuable because like I said, if you get him now, then you don't have to worry about getting him later. Same thing goes for Miles Sanders. He's the backup for the Cowboys. If anything was to happen to Javonte Williams, yeah, he had the fumble in the first game, kind of really hurt the Cowboys in a way. But he's a veteran running back. He was all those years with the Eagles.
And Carolina.
So if you get him now, you're guaranteeing that handcuff, which is something that I like to do just when you can already see a team that's going to be using their running back the majority of time. So something to think about with those. And they're rostered in very small percentages of leagues. I think even Miles Sanders was at like 5%.
Yeah, an honorable mention would be Trey Benson. I know I talked about him last week, but still, he's one of those guys that's actually seen a lot of work as a backup running back. So if anything were to happen to the aging James Conner, this guy would be a number 1 option, and you could instantly throw him in either your running back spot if you are a James Conner owner or a flex option if you're like in a double flex league. So that would be very viable. Let's round out this episode with a Thursday night kind of like previews / lines. We got the Bills at the Dolphins, and I don't know what the lines are. I would have to look at it real quick, but I'm pretty sure the Bills are favored by quite a wide margin.
I would say it's probably over 10 points.
What's your guess? I'm gonna go with like 8.5. I don't think
8.5.
I think it's.
Where's the game at?
I think it's in Miami.
Okay, if it's under 10, if it's in Miami, if it's in Buffalo, it's over 10. That's
okay.
what I think.
Let me find it real quick.
Okay, so I have 3 pick'ems for that game. So if you guys are on Prize Picks, Underdog, wherever you guys make your bets, you can find James Cook for over rushing or receiving touchdown. Just one of them. He's at 0.5. I also have Josh Allen going over 234.5 passing yards. I do think that he will be able to have success in the air against Miami. No matter where they're playing, he can do that on Mars if he had to. The next one would be Devontae Achan. I think he falls into the end zone somehow.
Did you say Devontae Achan?
Or what's his name?
Devon Achan?
Devontae, same thing. It's like Chris and Christopher. You know what I mean? Devontae.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like he's at 0.5 touchdowns rushing or receiving. So if the game gets out of hand, he still might get you some garbage time. If those 3 are, I believe it was at 4.5x for those 3 or 7.5x. So depending on how much money you want to throw down, you can win 7.5x your money.
7.5x?
Yep. That's Thursday night.
It's kind of weird how you say X. I mean, like, I know that's
what do you mean?
Because it's times, like 7.5 times your money.
Oh my God, dude. What does X mean in math?
Well,
like if you see a number with an X and then like, another number.
What if somebody who doesn't know betting, they're like, oh, like I'm going to lose 7.5 money? Like,
no. God, bro. I'm not going to get into this. This is not funny.
I've just always said like, oh, like 4 times or like 10
4x,
times.
10x. If I say X, it means times.
Okay, my bad.
We're talking gambling here.
Okay, well, the line...
If you don't know that, then you shouldn't be gambling. Gambling responsible.
Gambling responsible.
Gamble responsibly.
You look dead in the camera and you're like, gambling responsible.
Hey. Your boy just won $60 though, okay? Here's the proof.
Okay.
Here's the proof.
My bad.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, the line opened up with Buffalo favored by 10.5, and right now it's at 12.5. So it's just going up
digits,
right now. Yeah, so it's at 13. I thought it was going to be a little bit lower, but
in
Buffalo, so that's why.
Yeah, you see, I told you.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's in Buffalo. Yeah, that makes sense though. I didn't know it was in Buffalo. I thought it was in Miami. But
I have a problem, folks.
I have a problem. Yeah, I got some lines too. So I got a little bit of a smaller one. We got Devon Achan with 24.5 receiving yards. Hit the over on that. James Cook for 1 anytime touchdown, and Tyreek Hill for 40 receiving yards in the game. I think that's what's going to smash the over on all 3 of those. Again, we're not promoting any specific site. We're not correlated with any specific gambling or betting website or app or
You
whatnot.
just want to win some money, man, just like anybody else.
Right.
We're in it for the dollar.
And the only thing we want to say is gamble responsibly. Gamble what you can
Only
afford to
bet
lose.
what you can afford to lose because
Exactly.
chances are you're going to lose. Vegas ain't Vegas for a reason, baby.
Exactly.
Wait,
so,
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that
Vegas
makes sense.
is Vegas for a reason.
yeah, Vegas. Vegas.
Las Vegas. Speaking of the Raiders,
Who you got? Who you got? Dolphins.
what do you mean?
Bills?
Who do I have? I literally was gonna say, don't even ask who we're picking. Just let it be known that it's the Dolphins and the Bills. With that being said, I got the Dolphins.
All right, Josh Allen, you're obviously starting in this game. James Cook, you're obviously starting.
HN.
Devon Achane, you're obviously starting. Tyreek Hill, I guess you have to start. Are we starting Keon Coleman in this game? We did see a significant step back last week.
I think they'll throw the ball more. So yeah.
You think they'll throw the ball? I mean, they scored 30 points last week, and he only left the game with 5.6 fantasy points.
But I mean, I don't know. Still too early to sit him, especially where people took him.
yeah, I mean,
Just roll him out. It's a Thursday night game too. I mean, if you don't want to, then get him out of your roster early. You don't have to worry about making that decision. But then come Friday morning, if he had a monster game, you're going to be slapping your tits.
Another word of advice is take your
Just saying.
Thursday night players out of your flex spot, because if you need flexibility later on in the week, you cannot do that with your flex spot locked in with Keon Coleman or Devon Achane in your flex spot. So take them out of your flex lineup every single Thursday. Never put a Thursday night player in your flex lineup. Always put them in your starting lineup. And even if your roster looks a little wonky, like if you have CeeDee Lamb on Thursday and you have I don't know, Matthew Golden as your wide receiver 1 technically, like you're still going to put them on your roster. It's just worst case scenario. If CeeDee Lamb, like something happens to him before Sunday's game, like you're screwed because you can't throw someone else in.
Yeah.
So again, just a little word of advice, always take your Thursday night players out of your flex spot and always try and put your latest window in your flex spot. So always try and put your Sunday nights and your Monday nights in your flex spot. I think that rounds out our episode. Like we said, James Cook, Josh Allen, Devontae. See, you got me saying Devontae.
I thought it was Devontae.
No,
Sorry, God.
Devon.
Bro, you know how
Achane.
many names there are?
There's a lot of names. There's a lot of names. James Cook, I think he's good for a touchdown, like I said.
Good
so
God,
I think
how many names are there?
you think Buffalo goes undefeated?
No. Why would you ask
I don't
that?
know. Dolphins went undefeated.
Yeah, that long time ago. Back when things were different. Okay?
Like what was it? 79?
that was your grandfather's NFL.
No, that was my dad's.
No, that was your grandfather's NFL for the most part. Your dad knew about it, but the grandfathers were the ones that were really playing fantasy back in the day.
Dude, imagine fantasy football in like 1960.
You
1970.
had to be committed to only that. You couldn't be married. You probably couldn't have any kids.
Dude,
Probably
you
didn't
really
have a
couldn't.
life.
There was no internet.
Yeah.
Everything was by hand.
It was all through like stat encyclopedias and shit.
Dude, imagine.
Handwritten.
That would be bad. I don't think it's possible to do that.
No, I'm sure, dude. When there's a will, there's a way, bro. Have you seen the pyramids? That would be like the same feat. Like playing fantasy in the 70s is like the Egyptians building the pyramids somehow. We don't even know how they did it. We literally don't. It's a
my
modern
God.
marvel.
I think that might have been one of the best things that's ever come out of your mouth.
That was a good one.
Comparing fantasy football in the 70s to building the pyramids.
They're both as impossible as you like. Think about it. Like,
I mean, you're not
think about
wrong.
it.
You're really not
No,
wrong.
I'm not. I know I'm not.
Like we said, we are rolling out a website. I'm actually very excited to announce that. Me and Chris are working on that together. Again, it's not the most fine-tuned thing in the world, but it is something we want to provide for you guys. It's completely free. You don't have to sign up with an email, or you don't have to pay a subscription of any sort. It is absolutely free. You are more than welcome to. I will be putting it in the link down below in the description. I will also be putting it in my link tree on Instagram. I don't think you can do it on TikTok anymore, but it absolutely will be on Instagram. If you want to check out the website, it is it's going to be all one word, all lowercase, thesidelinepodcast.my.canva.site. That is again, thesidelinepodcast.my.canva.site. By the time you're listening to this, I will more than likely have the rankings out already for week 3, and we're going to be doing it weekly. We're going to be doing all 32 starting quarterbacks for the week. We're also going to be doing the top 24 running backs and wide receivers, as well as the top 12 tight ends per week, and you will see that be updated as we go along. There's also going to be, like we said, a live weekly injury report on that. I will be updating it hopefully every single morning. That's what I'm going to be shooting for, if not every single night. So just keep an eye out on that. I will be having most of the fantasy relevant stuff on there. So if you guys don't want to listen to the entire minute or hour and 40 long podcast or hour and 20 long podcast, you can always go to the website and find the rankings there. Chris, do you have anything else to say before we round this out?
Shout out to the Pyramids, man.
Shout out to the Pyramids. That does it for episode 28. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you later. Peace.